Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Series, proudly powered by leadershipbydesign.co, where we aim to add value to people's lives. You can listen to us live every Wednesday and Thursday at lunchtime on ebizradio.com, where we talk everything leadership, coaching, and marketing. And you can listen to us on the Lunchtime Series on all your major podcast channels today. In our marketing and leadership segment, joining as per usual, marketing and communications expert and co-host Craig Page-Lee. How are you doing, Craig?
Kevin, I'm great, thank you. Good to be chatting again today, and looking forward to the second part of the conversation topic we started last week. Really am. But from what I hear, you've had quite a busy week yourself.
A very busy week, but I'm not complaining. I've got, when clients are emailing you for work, then I'm like, so I've got some clients this week that are interested in doing some stuff, which is really exciting. But Craig, I did want to mention, did you watch the tennis?
I absolutely did. Both women and men's games, and just phenomenal. Firstly, the women's game, having a unseeded woman just come along and win with the power that she did. Phenomenal game. And then probably one of the best men's finals I've ever seen as well. That youngster is he's going places.
He's 20 years old, Greg. 20. I'm like, if he's playing at that age, beating someone who's been in. I was checking how long Djokovic has had his reign, and they worked it out in weeks for some reason. So I don't know why they do it in weeks, but when I sort of did the maths, it was about he's had this reign as number one at Wimbledon for the last 7 years.
Wow.
Right, so he's been unbeaten, and
wow.
and old Carlos like literally took him to town. I mean, even right to the last set and the last sort of games they were playing, he was serving. His second serves were at 120 miles per hour.
Yeah, I know, and one of the serves was 137 miles per hour, just phenomenal. Incredible game.
Yeah, unbelievable, like a weekend to watch some tennis. It was, and then I did watch some of the rugby on Saturday.
I never expected us to beat New Zealand, to tell the honest truth. The All Blacks are a phenomenal team. I don't think we approached the game with the right approach from the get-go. We definitely came back stronger in the second half, but rather have the big losses and learnings now prior to the commencement of the World Cup, that we can go in with clear understanding of where some of the flaws are. So next week's going to be the last of the championship games against Argentina here in South Africa.
But what I did notice about some of the tries we did score, the guys were exceptional. Like some of the tries we did get through, they played really, really well, even though it's the All Blacks. I mean, the All Blacks we know are, the team to beat kind of thing. But I think from someone who doesn't often watch rugby, but internationally, when you kind of sort of weigh up from where we were last year or last time compared to now, I kind of like, you pay attention to it, you know that the guys are doing well, and you can see they're playing really well. So I think the team, whoever's running it at the moment, is doing a good job. I think we in the runnings to really step it up, and I think there's a hunger for it, because South Africa needs it, the teams need it. There's a hunger for us to get back and to have something good about this country.
And I like the point you make there, Kevin, because if there's one thing that has proven itself time and time again, is when South Africa wins big in these international tournaments, there really is some kind of gel and glue that brings the nation together. And for that short period of time, we're just able to move past the negativity and BS that we're faced with every single day. So yes, and to that point, let's hope the women's football World Cup team, get through from the beginning to the next round. I don't believe they're going to go past round 2, even if they do get there. But let's see them win a game or two and really just bring some of that spirit back into the nation.
And in the news, it's not something I watched, but I saw it briefly. I saw a headline yesterday that there's more generators up and running, creating electricity.
yeah, absolutely.
Something like, slowly but surely things are happening.
Great.
We've got that Afrikaans saying that I know where to win, right? So
yes.
You keep going and you eventually win. Craig, so before we jump into conversation, what are some of the key reminders of last week's conversation?
Yeah, so Kevin, as you know, last week we addressed the topic of social media and some of the key trends that actually have emerged the past year and a half. And the conversation focused specifically on the GW report titled Social Media Behind the Scenes 2023 Trends Report. And the 5 key insights that are identified in the report are noted as follows. So the first key insight is daily social media usage hits a ceiling globally. And here we learn that since the pandemic peak, average daily time spent on social media has actually leveled off or declined across most regions. Only North America's figures go against the grain, with usage continue to rise. Interesting to note again that baby boomers are also an outlier here, which is another reason why brands really need to keep them in mind during their strategy discussions. The second key insight here is WhatsApp is the favorite, but TikTok is chasing. Yeah, something that we clearly expect. WhatsApp retains its position as the world's favorite platform, but rarely gets attention it deserves. Meanwhile, TikTok's growth is showing no signs of slowing, with the number of consumers saying it's their top pick doubling in the last 2 years, Kevin. And it's very important for brands to know which platforms are trending, but also be aware of platform use overlap, because this reminds us that there is quality of engagement that matters across multiple platforms. The third key insight here is reasons for logging on are changing in the West, and the way Western consumers see social media and engage with certain platforms is definitely shifting. And the number of Western TikTok users say they use the platform to keep up to date with the news has jumped by 41% in 2 years. And, you know, again, you just wonder, how on earth can TikTok be a news generator platform? But really important to understand. And more turning to it for information about products and brands. That's a critically important piece. 52% growth in that regard. And the platform use cases aren't static, so it's key for brands really to stay on top of consumers' perceptions in relevant markets. The fourth key insight here is video and audio king. The number of social media users who actually watch videos on a range of platforms has grown the past year, and audio formats are definitely gaining traction, particularly with Gen Z embracing a lot of voice note usage. Brands might benefit from including more audio formats in their social media marketing, like informative videos or the ability to actually provide customer feedback via voice note. I really do like that particular proposition. And the fifth and final key insight of the takeaway reminder points is that social media is a key tool for discovery. How we discover new brands and products is constantly evolving, and now more Gen Zs say that they actually find products on social media, more products on social media than on search engines, and millennials aren't far behind. So with consumers preferring product discovery to happen more organically online, brands really should aim to keep up with what's culturally important to their target audience and the questions they're actually asking, Kevin. And those are the key reminder takeaway points from last week.
Fantastic. Guys, if you want to, you can check out the social media behind the scenes 2023 trends report. We are chatting about it on YouTube, and you can go and check it out. It's just up and uploaded last week. But Craig, you mentioned that we're going to cover the second part of this conversation on social media today. So can you expand more on that statement?
Kevin, absolutely. I want to look at the second report. As I mentioned last week, I happened to come across 2 GWI reports. The second report is titled GWI, Every Agency's Guide to Social Media. And I want to focus on that for today's conversation. The report is structured primarily to assist agencies and clients in optimizing their approach to planning and implementing their social media strategies. So there's probably some nice takeouts for you in this regard as well, Kevin.
Yeah.
The report primarily covers 3 broad concepts, namely challenges in the new social scene and how to turn them into opportunities, insight-led channel planning, some really simple approaches here, and some insight-led content strategy just to help you understand how to maximize some of the ROI. And the 3 concepts are reviewed in respect of how and where to reach your audience, what social content your audience really wants to see, and actually how to get more ROI from social, even on a budget, and particularly a tight budget.
So, Craig, then what can you tell us about the challenges in the new social scene?
Kevin, so the section opens with acknowledgement that the state of play has changed, and as we have our shows on a weekly basis, we're definitely seeing, the whole marketing dynamic is shifting, patterns, trends, platforms, etc. And critically, time and budgets are getting tighter by the day. Competition definitely remains fierce. Retaining talent has become much trickier, something that you're particularly familiar with. Speed of change continues to ride at an exponential rate, and return on investment is a promise that you have to keep, especially when reporting at a board level. And 2 weeks ago we spoke about CMOs finding their seat at the boardroom table. This is really one of the biggest challenges that they faced with. But Kevin, what really stands out for me in this particular section is the reference to the important at least concept of putting the human element back into marketing. And it's actually something that came up in a conversation with a client yesterday. And to this extent, the report opens with the following statement. We've entered a dizzy new era of marketing where things are shifting so rapidly. It's near impossible to know what's next. New AI is shaking up the creative world at large. And on social media, tired consumers feel increasingly disconnected from brands. Who can they trust in a world of fake news and misinformation? AI has huge benefit for agencies, but with the spammy content on the rise, it's getting harder to cut through the noise. Authenticity and personalization matter more than ever in reaching your engaging your social audience. So put that all-important human element at the heart of everything you do.
Again, I laugh because Craig, again, as much as we have that panic, right? We have that panic where people are going, artificial intelligence, and spammy is definitely a word that, or spamming, comes into play in a big way. But it still comes back to how are you actually connecting a human to a human, because we don't want to be talking to a machine the whole time.
Correct. I like that. Yep.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
Yep. So Kevin, the four challenges that are referenced in point one are quite insightful as well. And each of these is looked at in the context of turning those challenges into opportunities. And really it's good for us to embrace every challenge in our workplace with the foresight of how does that actually unlock and become an opportunity. So let's just look at each of those challenges in a bit more detail and see what opportunities come out of that. So the first challenge is the attention economy. Yeah, we know sluggish, slow growth at the moment. The growth trajectories we've seen in the past few years and decades have definitely slowed and plateaued. So with time and social declining in 36 of the 48 global markets since Q1 2022, we really have to understand that any brand is facing a challenge of many thousand other brands out there, and obviously the bots. So fighting for people's attention is vitally important to understand. So the opportunity here is actually to do more with less. So you only need to know two things to win and keep consumers' attention. Firstly, where and how they're spending their time on social media. Actually quite simple principles. So focus your marketing efforts on what they want, and you'll cut through all the noise in half of the time. The second challenge is that challenge of the rise of AI, and generative AI like ChatGPT is useful for marketers, but consumer opinions are mixed, with 68% of ChatGPT users saying they would use it over a search engine for queries, while 43% don't think it's a reliable tool they can use consistently. And yeah, I say yet, because I think we're going to see quite a big shift and change in that regard. The opportunity here is speed up ideation. So AI is changing the world as we know it. So get on board or get left behind. So from pitch prep to strategic content planning, actually step in and use AI power tools to gather some data and get some of that creative juice flowing in half the time within the agency, Kevin.
Yeah, correct. I mean, it's one of the things that I use for ideation specifically.
Yes.
Is, on speaking, some of the speaking points that we have, when I have a guest on the show, someone will come and speak about self-awareness, and I use ChatGPT and kind of go, okay, what are 10 really important points about or about self-awareness? So I don't necessarily speak to every single point.
Yeah.
But what it does do is it gives me a nice sort of framing of how to sort of create a bit of conversation out of that. And then it just makes it, it literally takes you 5 minutes, and then you've got a piece of content that you can actually speak to. So yeah, and it makes so much sense.
And the great thing there is that you're the human element in carrying forward with the content that's being provided through the AI process. Yeah.
I think that's
So the challenge 3 is really an important point here, which is inclusive marketing, Kevin. And yeah, as we cover quite a bit in our various conversations, diversity, equity, inclusion is a growing social issue, with questions raised around representation in ads. And we're seeing that really as one of the highlight focus areas at the moment. Pay attention. Audiences are unlikely to engage with or trust brands who they don't feel represent them. Very important point. The opportunity here is build trust with engaging content. So, many brands with Jay-Z tunnel vision are letting other valuable audiences slip through the net. So be open-minded and validate your target audience. It would be nice to uncover market opportunities you didn't expect when you get to understand and validate your audience. And then the fourth challenge here is the cookieless future. So, relying heavily on social platform data to target users, track trends, and customer client strategies is really the time to rethink now. Alongside the diminishing cookie frameworks, look at growing your online, look at understanding the growing online privacy concerns. More and more brands are actually being boxed out because of the approach in this regard. So the opportunity is to get the answers firsthand. Without those tracking tools, how do you actually get to know what your consumers want or do? The reality, it's as simple as just asking. With a window into their minds, first-party audience research gives you a clear edge and advantage over competitors, and the tools can actually lead to helping you convert on social platforms, Kevin.
Correct. So now, with an insight-led channel planning, what can you share with us in regards to this?
Yeah, Kevin, so this is the longest section in the report and addresses the important subject of planning, which, based on the points we've just covered now, planning is an integral role in getting to understand the audiences, where they are and what they want. And this particular section opens with the headline, "Plan like you mean it," which really is great. It's like, plan with the end in mind, plan like you mean it. And it notes that before deciding where to invest in social media, it really is important to know who your client's target audience is and which channels they use. And for instance, last week we covered the principle of which are the channels that resonate most with the respective audience segments in terms of leaning in and engaging with ads. So it's important to really understand where and when they are engaging. And the 4 steps that are covered in respective channel planning are noted as follows. So first, ditch your assumptions. Forget everything you know about consumers. Without fresh insights into the audience's attitudes and behavior on social media, there's actually no point in advertising. And that is probably the most important statements of the entire report. Second is compare and contrast. And here, use the first-party consumer data to map out your client's ideal target audience. And the more insights that you gather and piece together, the better you're going to understand where this audience spend their time, what the unique characteristics are, and actually what they want from you as a brand. And by identifying the key points of differentiation between the audiences, you're definitely able to establish what they care about. And in doing so, you'll spot the opportunities to create more of those tailored posts and connect on a much deeper level. And most importantly, to this point, is back up your research with social platform data for best of both view of your client's target market. Step 3, choose the right channels. Building your social media presence on the channel your client's target audience actually uses is important. As many as you can reasonably manage to maximize visibility and reach. And again, the key thing from last week is there is an overlap of channels. So get to understand what they're using what channel for at a particular time and what content they're seeking on that respective channel. Be realistic though. One standout post on a single platform is sometimes better than 10 really half ineffective, sloppy posts across the board of all the channels. So factor in time, budget, and resources before you commit. Each audience is unique, really talking to understanding the personas in that respective regard. And the generational analysis shows us why it's worth digging deeper. To be effective, it's important to understand what each generation's favorite social platform is. And there's a really great diagram on page 11 of the report, which provides some insights on this point. And here's a quick snapshot of that. So Gen Alpha, their favorite platform is TikTok, and their second favorite platform is Instagram. 23% favor TikTok, 18% favor Instagram. Gen Z, 29% favor Instagram, and 19% favor WhatsApp. The millennials, 21% favor WhatsApp and 21% favor Facebook. Gen X, 24% favor WhatsApp and 22% favor Facebook. And the baby boomers, 26% favor WhatsApp and 23% favor Facebook. And what's interesting, millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers, WhatsApp is their first preference and Facebook is their second preference for each of those three generational audiences.
Well, that's an interesting stat, because just looking at this now, kind of going, cool. If I'm live on TikTok and I'm wanting to speak to the audience, my audience then specifically are Facebook people, because they're millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers. Gen Alpha and Gen Z may not be interested in the content from this aspect that we, speaking about marketing and how to change organizations, but baby boomers, Gen X, and millennials might be.
Yes, so, very much so. Very much so. And remember, and I like that point, Kevin, because, those are the folk that are generally entrenched in long career positions already. They've got leadership positions. They are either tasked to create those change moments in an organization, or actually they're sitting on the receiver end that they're going through the change moment, and they need to understand, how to embrace and participate and be part of that process. So yes, those would inevitably be some of the platforms that they would lean into and engage with. That said, this is first and second favor. I think millennials, Gen X, baby boomers, LinkedIn is an important piece. And in fact, Kevin, actually relative to seeking out brand information, LinkedIn is important to some of those guys. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Step 4 is deliver the content your audience expects to see. In fact, it talks exactly to the point that you make right now. Are the Gen Alpha and Gen Z interested in content relative to change in organizations? So understand and deliver the content your audience expects to see. Authenticity is key. So consider how your brand, how your client's brand values, tone of voice, and message actually fits into each channel, and the content of the client's target audience expects in their feed. So don't be afraid to test and learn. And that is the beauty about social media, is the instantaneousness and the malleability and adaptability of the platform. As you can test, augment, correct, and move forward with a different approach. Feed the strategies with consumer insights to craft more of that relevant content that taps directly into their interests. And again, tell those compelling stories. When you get that right, you're going to drive action, Kevin. Building on step 4, it's also important for brands not just to know what content their audience expects to see, but actually to know where and how they discover these new brands. And the chart on page 13 really provides a good oversight of the percentage of consumers in each generation who actually typically find out about new brands and products on social media. So I'll give you a quick snapshot of three channels per generational segment here. So Gen Z, 29%, researched and found out about new brands on social media ads, 28% on search engines, and interestingly, 26% still on TV ads. Millennials, 31% are finding information through search engines, 30% on TV ads, and 29% on social media ads. Gen X, 35% are finding key information on brands and new brands on TV ads, 35% on search engines, and 32%, this is where it changes, recommendations from friends and family. Baby boomers, again, top is 39% on TV ads, 36% now on recommendation from family and friends, and 36% on search engines. And the other important point to note here on this step 4, Kevin, is that traditional marketing is an important part of the mix, with TV advertising still really showing relevance with most of the audiences these days. Older generations are very much likely to discover new products and brands through search engines and word of mouth recommendations from those that they trust, while the targeted social ads are definitely more popular with the younger audiences. Gen Z are 30% more likely than the average consumer to find brands through vlogs, and millennials are 9% more likely than the average consumer to find brands through celebrity endorsement. And that is, well, I'm seeing an interesting rise in celebrity endorsement again on some of the articles that I'm reading.
Yeah, I'm just as I'm listening to you now, I'm kind of going, okay, maybe I should do some more testing on where I go, because I do go live a lot on TikTok at the moment, and just to get those numbers up and do what I don't know what they say you should do.
Yes.
But essentially, if I'm thinking of the audience that's maybe I'm just going live on the wrong platform. So when you hear it like that, then that's really you start playing with your social media more to kind of see what kind of responses you're getting. That makes more sense.
But Kevin, if you are recording on TikTok, then at least you've got the content in place, so top and tail it, and then feed it into the other social channels post the event. So at least you've created it with an audience participation and some commentary to pick up on their thoughts and that, and then just you've got the content and now seed it into the likes of Facebook and Insta.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct. So moving on to point 3, the insight-led content strategy. What can you share with us about that?
Yeah, Kevin, some really nice, simple approaches. Yeah, point 3 opens with the following statement: keep crowd-pleasing content on tap. So again, it talks to your TikTok point. If that audience that are following you on TikTok are if your content resonates and they're happy with it, just keep doing that. But use it elsewhere. So you've uncovered your client's ideal target audience. Now it's time to connect with them in an authentic, memorable way. Forget the one-off likes. Here it's about creating the quality content that wins the hearts, that builds the trust, and actually that opens up that direct contact with your audience across the various social platforms. The chart on page 17 actually provides a good overview of what content works best on social. And it's definitely worth our listeners reviewing this chart in detail. And Kevin, you'll be able to see the nature of your content against the various touch points on chart 17 to see if there are any other touch points that would resonate more with the kind of content that you produce. But the final insights to be gained from point 3 here are referenced under the title 6 Ways to Ace Your Strategy Without Upping Your Spend. So let's take a quick look at these 6 points in detail here. So inspire that OMG moment, Kevin. So yeah, everybody sends out memes or videos to friends with the one-word message, me. Personalize the content, make it relatable for maximum shareability. Go viral is the second point. It's your goal, driving brand awareness and engagement. Break the rules, create targeted ads that spark debate, but remember, keep it light and avoid that backlash. Point 3 is tap into the creator economy. This is a wonderful point. Consumers are willing to pay for content they value. Establish the creators that you can leverage and engage. Help use those to engage followers to create some of the diversified revenue streams. Those could be the likes of subscription offers, which you mentioned before, posting sponsored content, or actually enabling fans to send viral tips to their favorite creators and then getting that collective participative feedback. Point 4 is watch and learn. Shoot form video that makes it easy for your audience to digest information. This is vital in today's attention economy. Be light, be playful, and experiment with this particular format. Give audio your attention. Really like this point. The format's definitely gaining traction with Gen Z, as we noted earlier. Customers could use it to ask questions or share feedback for their personalized experiences. More of that dialogue, conversational style, which is great. And then the last point here is just keep it real with paid partnerships. So over half of consumers think celebrities should only endorse products relevant to their lifestyle. So consider working with the influencers next door instead of somebody who really doesn't have that personal connection with you or your brand, but is there just to earn money.
Well, I'm glad that that's still some of the key points, Craig. If you look at, what we've done in the last couple of years now with keeping on as consistent as we have with audio content, visual content,
Yes.
And being playing in the forefront of what's required. I think we're not doing too badly, and I like the sound of that.
We just got to get some of the sponsorship stuff in place.
That's the only thing
Because we're doing this for the love and for nothing more. Yeah.
Exactly. So as we end the show today, what are the key takeaway points that you can share with the listeners?
Kevin, the report closes with the following statement. Consumers crave trust in the tech-driven world, and so should you. Yeah, weaving reliable social and survey data together helps you make much smarter decisions, as these gold insights tell you exactly what your client's target audience wants, how to serve it up with sprinkles on their favorite social platform. So if you remember noting anything from this guide, Kevin, just remember the 4 Ps of successful social media strategy. These are around profiling the right audience, around planning with the right results, around posting on the right channels, and around proving the ROI. Building audiences in GWI, agencies can generate insights on brand advocacy, purchase journeys, and online discovery channels to actually identify those potential customers under the respective brands, clearly defined persona groups. Again, I mentioned persona groups. Agencies can then actually roll out media plans tailored to each of the persona groups, publish posts that match their interest on specific days and times with the highest interaction potential. In other words, agencies can actually determine the type of content that the users consume, as well as observing the change in the number of follows and interactions daily through the use of GWI social media tracking tools. This then allows them to establish which is the most important elements that they are driving, most important elements in driving the success of campaigns. And some of the metrics that actually are tracked include the likes of increase in campaign posts and interactions, page interactions, post interactions, users reached, and views and new follows. And those are the key takeaway points for today, Kevin.
Fantastic, guys. If you want to catch that, you can catch it live on every week. We are live on eBiz Radio on Thursdays around about 12. And you can check that on ebizradio.com, or you can just check it out on all the major podcast channels. Craig, quote for today, which I found just interesting and funny to share. Erin Barry from Sprouter Community Manager said, "Don't say anything online that you wouldn't want plastered on a billboard with your face on it."
Brilliant. Well, yeah, it talks nicely to the topic of social media. Absolutely. Remember, what you're putting out there has the potential for huge backlash. There's no doubt about that. And one tweet can break your brand, or one tweet can really make your brand. So yes, exactly. I like that.
Take responsibility for what you say. Absolutely.
Very much so.
Have a good week, and I will chat to you next week.
Thank you very much. Have a great one ahead, Kevin. Thanks.
Just for now. Bye.